Welcome. My name is James Sackey. I'm the marketing director for the Vant Group and your host for the quarterly Deal Pulse, where I'm interviewing top deal makers.
So I'm a partner with Blank Rome.
So in Escor, we are a direct lender.
For their insights and their feedback.
I think on some of the sell side, you've got some companies that are in a little bit of trouble now.
On what's going on in the transaction world. Let's get to it. Thank you for joining us today. I'm joined by Brian McKenzie. He's Managing Director of Rainstar Capital Group. Brian, thank you for joining us today. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about the company.
First of all, James, pleasure to be here with you. So Rainstar Capital Group is a national debt advisory firm. We specialize in providing capital solutions in the four sectors as far as working capital, commercial real estate finance, equipment finance, and then we also do a lot in the acquisition space, primarily through SBA funding, conventional funding, as well as asset-based lending.
Awesome. All right, then. So if you're ready, we can jump right
Let's
into
do
it. What are you seeing right now in deal flow? Are you seeing transactions that they're increasing, decreasing, or stagnant?
Pretty much flat, just due to the some of the macroeconomic challenges, geopolitical issues that we're facing, as well as inflation and just higher interest rates. So it's kind of keeping people on the sidelines as far as making different acquisitions or potential mergers. So that's basically what I'm observing.
Interesting. How have buyer expectations changed, or their behaviors? How have they changed in the last 90 days?
Definitely more conservative, now because initially going into this year, there was a lot of hope, a lot of enthusiasm as far as just the marketplace was concerned. But just due to, again, the geopolitical issues, the potential tariffs, as well as the Fed not moving forward as originally anticipated as far as reducing rates, that's kind of kept buyers on the sideline as well.
Do you think, let me just kind of touch on that a little more. Do you think that when it comes to the Fed, we'll see lower rates like we have in the past, like post 08, or do you think this is just something that investors and buyers are going to have to get used to going forward at the rates?
I believe that there's going to be a decrease. Obviously, the Fed has been watching where inflation is gone, and it hasn't reached its target yet. The Fed is actually trying to get down to around 2%, and right now it's a little over 4% still. So that's kind of keeping them at bay, so to speak. But, as far as potentially this year is concerned, there may be some rate reductions towards the latter portion of the year, by what I'm hearing.
Okay. So are you noticing any recurring red flags that are killing deals in the process?
Not so much anything outside of the normal. Just right now, just making sure that deals cash flow. I think that's been the challenge over the past couple of years with rising interest rates. So, yes, even though we've had some reductions towards in Q4 of Q3, and Q4 of last year, the rates are still a little higher. So, that's just making sure that the deals are going to cash flow.
Okay. And let's talk about industry activity. Are you seeing any particular industries that are showing signs of life or that are exploding, or
right?
What are you seeing?
I'm sorry. Right now, really manufacturing, industrial manufacturing, and IT services, those are the ones that are really exploding right now. So, because they're not as impacted by tariffs on some level and some of the other geopolitical challenges and just regulatory compliance, that's, where I'm initially seeing, growth opportunities there in those two sectors primarily.
Interesting. I haven't heard about IT yet, but I imagine that would be picking up steam quite a bit, especially here in DFW, with it kind of becoming much more of a tech forward hub and some of the anchor companies that we've got moving here. Are you seeing any particular deal types that are really active?
No, not in particular.
Not really. Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So what about advice? Let's kind of shift gears a little bit here. What sort of advice are you giving to clients more often this quarter than you were last?
I just say really just trying to avoid deals that are going to be adversely impacted by the tariffs and some of the other regulatory compliance. If just depending on what your sweet spot is and, basically how you're looking at growing your operations, if you can find businesses that, again, aren't as heavily impacted by those potential headwinds, then, those are the industries that I would suggest, trying to look to get into.
I've noticed there's what feels like a little bit of an overreaction to the tariff situation where folks are, it's constantly in the news. Everyone's talking about it. It's on everybody's lips, everybody's mind. Are you seeing the same? And if you are, how do you kind of guide clients around that?
In a lot of the areas where I specialize in providing capital in the acquisition space, not really a huge issue, just based upon, again, the type of business that I do. But when I do come across those particular challenges, it's just like anything else. I talk about opportunity costs a lot of times with clients because sometimes when you're in growth mode, you have to strike while the iron's hot. So, there's always going to be potential challenges no matter what industry sector that you're in, no matter what time you're trying to grow. And there's never a perfect time. So, sometimes you just got to just stick your toe in the water and just be willing to jump in.
I like that mentality. I've heard the word uncertainty so many times this year. It's driving me nuts and I hate it. And I'm like, look, guys, there's always uncertainty. So let's not act like it's an actual impediment. Just get going and hit the gas. Let's go. I like that mentality. Okay, let's take out the crystal ball and look forward a little bit. If you had to bet on one shift coming in M&A, what would it be?
I think just overall, because a lot of people are just business owners, investors. They've been waiting on the sidelines for deals. I think just eventually toward the latter part of the year, like previously identified, that there's going to be some rate reductions that are going to take place that are just going to kind of open up deal flow a little bit more. And again, I just think more additional sectors are going to get more aggressive as far as wanting to put capital in the marketplace. You got a lot of lending institutions that are sitting on a lot of dry powder, and they basically they need to deploy those funds, and get deals going. So I just think eventually, people are just going to say, you know what, the heck with it, let's go.
Yeah, I'm hoping that too. Now, I'm curious though, what happens, or what do you think, what's going to push that over? What if it doesn't happen? What do you think we're going to see this kind of flat deal?
Yeah, I think it's a 2026. I try to stay obviously versed on what's going on in the marketplace, and just different blog sites and economic forums that I'm a part of. It's eventually it's going to wind up. The dam is going to break. So to speak. Whether or not it's in 2025 or whether or not it's in 2026, that's kind of the insight that I'm getting.
Let's hope so, because I want to see some deals start changing hands and get this dry powder off the sidelines, and in play. I hope so. And a lot of my friends and network are kind of feeling like they're having to sit on their hands as well. And I'm like, man, I want to see some
deals. At the end of the day, especially with me being in the lending space, nobody wins if capital is not being deployed. So, eventually it's going to have to get to a point in place, where deals start returning back to the market, back to the market, I should say. And I've got a lot of the lenders that we deal with on our platform. They're ready to deploy capital. It's like, hey, now I get calls all the time, from my different account executives and business development officers asking, hey, Brian, where's the deals at? So, which thank God, that I stay pretty busy, but, at the same time, they are making those calls and they do want to put capital out into the markets.
That's good to know. That's a good insight to have for sure. Brian, I appreciate your insights. Very sharp, very on point. I hope those of you that are watching find this useful. If you'd like to find out more insights from our Deal Pulse, you can check out on our social media channels on YouTube and LinkedIn and learn more about the Vant Group at thevantgroup.com. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, James, again. And definitely look forward to talking to you in the future.
Absolutely.